Hi everybody, it's me, Miss Laura. So look what we're gonna make today. This beautiful wreath. And look, it is made from a paper plate. So that's what we're gonna have you're gonna have a paper plate. You need some green paper and some red paper. So I'm gonna go ahead and get started. I got my plain paper plate. The cheap kind are the best. You don't wanna get the expensive paper plates because they're harder to cut. So I'm folding it in half so I can cut the center of it out. Let me grab my scissors over here. And see that line? I'm just gonna cut right on that line to get the center of this paper plate out. Okay, so now we've cut the middle of the paper plate out. And now I'm gonna take my green construction paper. And I'm gonna fold it in half the long way, or what we like to say in the art world is the hot dog way. It's kind of like a big hot dog bun. We're gonna fold it in half because we only need half of this paper. So I fold it in half the long way, the hot dog way, and I'm gonna cut right on that seam, that line right there. So we're gonna have a half a sheet of green paper. Okay, so this is all we need is this half, and we're going to cut on a diagonal. Remember how we've talked about diagonal lines that we've drawn and how it takes diagonal lines to create like triangles and things like that? Well, we're going to cut on a diagonal line, and our first piece of paper is going to be a triangle shape. So there I have a triangle shape, and I'm just going to keep cutting strips of paper on the diagonal like this, because we want, oop, that one flew, that's okay. We want to get slivers of paper, strips of paper that are all different lengths, and that's what's happening when we cut it on a diagonal. So that one's about going to be my longest one. That's kind of on the long side. So now I'm going to turn my paper, and now I'm going to cut another small triangle right here. And I'm going to go up again, and now we're having different lengths of paper again. I'm going to do this to this whole paper. Now I'm kind of getting it to where it's almost a point. Looks like the shape of a pencil or something like that. And I'm going to keep turning it back and forth, back and forth. So I'll probably cut about 3 or 4 this way. 2, 3. And now I'm going to cut 2 or 3 this way again, probably 3 again. 1, 2, 3. And I keep cutting on a diagonal because I want different lengths of paper. Ooh, that one flew. Okay. Now I think I'm going to try these corners, cut a triangle there, get some shorter pieces. Cut on a diagonal. And I'm just about got it all cut up here. This is really good practice for our cutting skills. When you get to the end, it's probably just going to be little straight pieces, not on a diagonal. That's okay. All right, look. If you guys can see, I've got a lot of green paper going on now. So I'm going to take my paper plate, and I'm going to cover it all up with glue. And we're going to be covering the whole paper plate with the green strips of paper that we just cut up. So I'm just kind of going along like a bunch of zigzags all over around my paper plate. gonna show you guys at home a trick that a friend of mine taught. If you have trouble squeezing glue, you can put glue in one of these bottles. I think you can even get these at the Dollar Tree these days. And they use them in cooking and different things like that, but it helps to get the glue out a lot faster. I don't use them in my classroom very often because the glue comes out kind of thick. You got a lot bigger hole at the top than the glue bottle. But for some students, when it's hard for them to squeeze the glue, it's good. A lot of my students, they would use way too much glue if I took this into the classroom. But I was having a little bit of hard time with this glue, so I thought, you know what, I'm going to show you guys at home. So that's how sometimes I'll use glue. So now you can see I've got it all covered in glue. And I'm just going to go around and make X's on my paper. And if you have one, like I just happened to grab one that was really long, they do not have to be the same size. But look, I'm going to show you the first X that I just made. See how that was kind of long? So I stretched that way across. And then I made an X, and I'm just going to cover the whole thing in a bunch of X's. They're going to be overlapping all over the place. And it just turns out to be a beautiful wreath that way. I'm just going to be grabbing a bunch of long ones first. Get some short ones in there too. You want it to be all full of different sizes. Make this red paper so I don't get glue all over it. Oop. So just keep covering it all up. You can do it while I'm doing it. We're going to get almost the whole paper plate covered. There is going to be a few white spots when we're done, and I'll show you in a minute what we're going to do with those. But we want to get most all of the paper plate covered up. See how I'm coming along? I got quite a few spots. I've got still quite a few papers. So we'll keep doing that. Don't y'all love this time of year when we're making all kinds of beautiful Christmas art projects? I love it. We can even put those little triangles down that we started out with. They can go on our wreath anywhere you like. I like to have the edges kind of hang off the side a little bit. Still making my X's. Now I'm getting to a point where I'm just trying to find some empty areas. Use all the sizes. It kind of helps if you kind of spin it every now and then. You can kind of see areas that you've missed maybe. If you got one piece, this one seems a little too long to me, and I'm going to give it like a little point, so I'm going to cut a diagonal like that. Make it a little shorter. Put some of these triangles down. Looks like I've got about 3 more pieces left. 1, 2. Yay. All right, let me show you how I've got it almost all covered up. There you go. That looks great. And you can still see where I have some glue where I covered up it. And I want to add a little bit of extra glue right there because we're going to shake it with some green glitter. I'll show you my sample. So in these areas that have the white, I'm gonna add more glue. You want to try to keep the glue off of the green paper a little bit. I know it's not going to stay completely off, but you want the green paper to show through. So I'm adding some more glue on the white area of the paper plate, not on the green paper, but on the white area. It's going to go around, add a little bit more glue. Okay, I think that should be enough. And now I'm going to use a piece of paper. Got some plain white paper over here. You want to take a piece of paper or newsprint or an old piece of newspaper, just so we're not getting glitter all over our table. So I've got my green glitter here. And I'm going to shake it all over. Try to keep it off my table. I say it's not Christmas until you use a little bit of glitter, right, everybody? All right. It can be messy, so you got to be careful with it. You want to... Ooh, that is looking good. I like it. Very good. Okay, so now we've got this step done. Okay, so now we're ready to make our flowers. So I put 3 flowers on there, and you just need a little bit of red paper. You know what, I want to set this to the side. I'm going to put that back in the jar here in a second. So I'm going to fold this paper into 4ths. Fold it in half. Fold it in half again. Because I don't need that much red for these flowers. I'm going to cut it on those folded lines. All right, so I've got a 1/4 sheet, 1/4 sheet, and I'm going to fold it the short way, which is also known as the hamburger way. We folded the green paper hot dog. This is what we call folding it hamburger style. It's like a hamburger bun. So I've got that folded, and I'm going to cut on that line. And that'll be the length of our flowers. So I'm going to cut just straight lines, not diagonal this time, to make strips. It's the shorter side of the paper. You don't want them too big, and you definitely don't want them too thin. But these are going to be, I'm going to go ahead and cut up the whole thing, because we're going to make 3 flowers. All right, so to make your flowers, we're going to take 4 of these papers. So if we're going to make 3 flowers, how many papers are we going to need altogether? All right, we're making 3 flowers. They each have 4, so that makes 12. You need 12 strips of paper. So, and I'm crisscrossing them, and it makes like the asterisk sign or the star sign on our phone. So I've got that, and I'm going to glue that all together. You just put a dot of glue between each one of the pieces of paper. Okie dokie. So there's my flower or asterisk. And I'm gonna glue it to my, whoop, whoop, whoop. My glue is running away on me. And I'm gonna glue it right there. You wanna spread out if they get kind of move around a little bit. And let me show you guys how it looks. There we go. That's gonna be pretty. And then I'm gonna put one about probably right here and right here. Let me go ahead and make those. If you want, let me slide this. I'm gonna put a dot of glue where I want it, right here. And then I make an X or a T, whichever one you would think of. And then go the other way. And another one. Okay. There we go. So there's my other one. I'm gonna put one right here. All right, we got our 3 flowers on. And then with that, I have just a few of these little strips left. We won't worry about those. And with that other little piece of paper, the other half that I just cut, I'm gonna make some circles on this, and we're gonna make little berries for our tree. I'm just gonna freehand mine real quick if it makes you guys feel better to draw little circles on your paper. You can do it that way. I have 3 berries per little cluster, you could say. And I have 3 clusters, so that means I need to have 9 little circles. Because 3 times 3 equals 9. They do not have to be all the exact same size. They definitely don't have to be perfect, because this is art, right? We always say there's no such thing as perfection, especially in art, because it's always going to look nice no matter what. Okay, just a few more to make. Let's see, I got 6. I need 3 more. 1, 2, 3. Okay, now I'm going to go ahead and glue those to, they're going to go in between my flowers. And I'm going to have 3 in each one. In the art world, we always say that things usually look best in odd numbers. So that's why I chose to do 3 flowers and then 3 berries between the flowers, depending on how big your wreath is, or whatever your art project may be. You could have 5 flowers or 7 flowers, but you want them to be an odd number usually. That's not, 100% of the time. There's always exceptions, but usually we think of odd numbers looking best. So let me show you. I've got my 3 clusters. Oh, that's looking good. And now we're ready for the red glitter. So I'm just going to put a little bit of glue on my berries and on my flowers, and then we'll be done. Just a little dots of glue on the berries. and little stripes of glue. I kind of just kept mine in the center of the flowers. You can put however much glue or glitter you want. One thing I didn't do, and I will do this when it dries, is I want to put the date, especially on the back of my art projects. When it comes to holiday projects, I love to put the date on the back of them, and that way many years from now I can look back and say, hey, I made that back in 2020. That was such an awesome year, wasn't it? So we have a lot of memories of 2020, don't we? Some of them not so good, but we are making it, and the year is almost over. So I'm putting a little glitter on here. Oh, this is going to be so pretty. All right, I'm going to shake that off. Oh, I love it. All right, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed making this beautiful wreath. Send me pictures. I'd love to see it. All right. You guys have a great rest of your day, and we will see you later. Bye.